Hi and welcome to Behind the Mic. My name is Cynthia Mwangi and today we are profiling the most amazing presenter, and I'm sure most of you know her from radio, but today we're taking her away from radio to the one thing that she's really passionate about, and that would be, as I am learning today, boxing. I always assumed it was workout, but I guess it is not.
So the things that I have done and excelled in, they found me along the way. My biggest achievement is raising 3 Kenyans who are alive and kicking. You know, the worst thing you ever tell a mother who has lost a child is that you are young, you'll get another child. Don't tell young mothers that. Because you know, the way you explain to children that, you know, your sister has gone to heaven to be with Jesus. So then he kept asking, he went to heaven, but you put her down. She went to heaven, but you put her down.
Hi, Jeridah. Hi. So, one thing people don't know about you is that, like myself, you're a village girl. Haukuzaliwa Nairobi. Jeridah, focus.
That part. What do you want me to tell you about growing up in the village?
Growing up in the village. Jeridah in the village.
Wow. Growing up in the village is just... I miss the days I was a child. We walk to school without shoes early in the morning. You wake up in the morning, you wash your face, you put on your school uniform, you walk to school. Looking back, I think that was not the kind of life people should live. But no breakfast, nothing, just pick your books. Sometimes you don't have a school bag, so you just pick your books if they're in a paper bag, or we used to knit school bags using...
Oh yes,
uzi. Crochet. That's how I grew up in the village. Walking to school, although school is just near home, maybe 500 meters from our home.
Wow.
And just being in the village, eating maperas, eating avocado, coming home for lunch to take uji if it was there or nothing, going to the stream to fetch water, using the kakoroboi lamp in the evening. What else? If there was no kerosene in that small lamp, you just go to sleep early. I mean, it's that easy, okay? If there is no lamp, you go to bed early. You eat early, you go to bed early. You come back from school, there is no water, you pick your jerrycan, you go, you bring water. Some days you take a bath, some days you don't. You sleep, you wake up in the morning, you go to school.
You don't do the thing in the river?
Not every time, like...
No! But
we used to do
was
that
it not
on
the
weekends.
joy of growing up in the village? That was
weekends.
it.
On weekends, we'll go to do laundry. Tunafua nguo mtoni, then when we finish, we bathe, we take a shower. But I didn't learn how to swim. Uko ushago. Somehow, it has kept me.
Oh, that is why you started swimming the other day. Let me start telling people the truth. Jeridah learned to swim I watched Jeridah learn how to swim in this Nairobi.
I'm still learning.
You left the village where there was water to come to Nairobi to learn how to swim.
I never learned to swim in the village.
Do people do that? Like your village people, just say quietly, because...
Every one of my siblings learned that. I did not.
How come?
My mom
what
was
it?
very protective of me. Even as I grew up in the village, even going to the stream, I had to go with someone, okay? And if I stayed too long, she would worry, where are you? It's not like I was the only child or the last born or anything. My mom just worried about me. I just thought, if no one is following me, she doesn't know what I'm doing. So things like learning how to swim, it needed all the time. I did not have that time. My mom will be waiting for me, so no. Plus, mimi ni muoga. Niswim kwa maji alafu nikufe huko alafu mama yangu aende kuambiwa.
Lakini niko na swali. Kwa nini mama yako alikuwa anakuangalia na her third eye? Ni nini ulifanya? Because you must have done something. I just thought, like, guy, let me be honest. Of all my children, this one.
I was almost the last born. My brother, who is younger than me, our last born is 7 years younger than me. And you see, for the that time, that's such a long time.
Yes.
So for a long time, I was the youngest. And then I was very small. As a child, I was the smallest, very little. And then there's a time I was really sick as a child, like so sick, everyone thought I was going to die. And then I made it. So my mom kept saying, I don't know where you are. What if you fall sick again? What if I come and find you falling down? So I think that's why she was so protective of me, like I was her last born. I did learn to do a lot of things, by the way. I am embarrassed to say this, but I didn't learn how to cook ugali.
It's okay. I think we're done with this interview. I think let's just finish.
I also didn't learn how to wash clothes growing up.
Oh yeah, because you're like a sickling.
Yeah, I'm a child, I'm a baby, like I don't know how to do those things. So my mom would say, atapika ugali mbichi, wachana nae. Uyo juu kufua, hii mikono yake kuja hapa. You can't wash my clothes.
Stop trying.
Stop. So, and then there is a brother before me. So my brother is a boy, so he didn't have to do anything. But there's a sister ahead of us. Her name is Margaret. She did everything for me and for Sammy, because Sammy is the boy, I am the little girl. Jen has to do everything. We call her Jen Margaret. She did everything for us. And my mom just sat there and akipata mtu ameniambia jikoni nikae niwashe moto, ananitoa. Anaambia yule mwenye amenitupa ingia jikoni. Umeambia mtoto aende awashe moto kwa nini na akichomeka? That's how I grew up.
So you're like those last bonds, unatumwa kwenda kuleta soda, alafu unakunywa hafu, unasema ili nichosha kubeba.
Yeah, nakuja tu, ama pesa ilipotea kwa njia, na Sami ndio anachapwa, Sami mbona ukaangalia mtoto unanipatia pesa, Sami rudi kwa barabara utafute pesa. And Sami would go, like he didn't have an option. I mean, mimi ni mtoto, mimi sasa ningefanya. Yeah.
You're a very sheltered person, entirely sheltered. That's it.
By my mom and then now by my older siblings. Like now in adulthood, I am super sheltered by my older siblings. My 3 brothers just build a shield around me. Somehow when you grow up in the village, there is also that one of, I'm in the village, you don't approach people, you don't do something unless you are told.
Yeah.
So I grew up not going forth for what I wanted, for what I thought was right. I would talk, and every time I'll talk, my mom would just be like, but my children now, I try a lot not to do that to them. Yeah, I try to let them talk for as long as they're being respectful, and I debate with them. I argue with them. I allow them to learn how to bring their points, to argue their points, to talk what they feel, and it helps them to grow up knowing that they have an opinion and they can talk out what they want. I would say broadcasting came to me as a suggestion. Okay? From my big brothers. Like I told you, those big brothers of mine, they're like, is she doing the right thing? Where is she? Come here. So after high school, I wanted to do something totally different. I wanted to act, then I didn't get into acting, of course. My dad was never going to hear such a story.
Of course. Yes.
Then my brother said, you will go to become a journalist.
Oh, it was a full stop. It was a you will go.
When my brothers say, they say.
We suggest.
No.
Among other things.
They were both in campus, one at KU, another one at School of Law. One day they came I was in Nairobi that time, they came in the evening, and they said, she's here, she's not going to school. Why? They said she's going to go to Kenya Institute of Mass Communication and learn journalism. And my dad said, where is that? And they say, tell her to find out, okay? And my dad, he went and found out about KMC, and he personally put me in his car and delivered me to KMC like pap. My dad was friends with Leonard Mambo, so we went to KBC, we picked Leonard Mambo,
and then
we sat in front with my dad, I was put at the back, we went, he delivered me to the director's office like, this is my daughter, she is starting school here. Yeah, that's how I ended up at KMC. I didn't know what I was going to do. I ended up being a broadcaster. I didn't even know anything about my voice or anything. I did a lot of public speaking back in school, but you do so that you go out, outings. But that's when now someone said, you have a good voice. And when I went for my attachment at KBC, everyone was like, yeah, she has a good voice, she has a good voice. That's how now I knew that, okay, it actually could be something I could do. Yeah.
But never venturing into content creation as well. It was just...
No. I have seen that most things that I do well, I never put my mind into it. They find me along the way, and then now I put my mind to it and I start doing. I didn't think I could be a trainer of journalists. It found me on the way. Like, people are like, you've been on radio for a while, you do what you do very well. Are you able to come and talk to my team? Then you go, you talk to them, they're like, oh, this is amazing. Then one day I come across this training for trainers. I go do, I sit on it, I do another one. Then eventually I realize, but this is what I do well and I enjoy it. Why can't I just do it a little more?
It comes too naturally.
Yeah, so the things that I have done and excelled in, they found me along the way, and then I put energy into it, I put resources into it, I put my time into it, and then it just grows.
Okay. Yeah. Now, so we can go have breakfast.
Yeah.
Let's see what we're going. Oh my God. Okay. Oh. God. Tired.
So, as we promised, we are ready for breakfast. Jeridah, I am very curious.
Wait.
But what are those portions?
This is egg. I don't know why they made my egg with this scrambled egg, but they made with maziwa. Nitavumilia tu kukula, but in real life, singekula kama iko na maziwa. Okay, for my breakfast, what's missing on here, which I will have a little later, is greens. Okay? Yeah, so normally I will not have my breakfast immediately after my workout. I would have it a little later, and it will be a smoothie. Okay? But today I'm not having a smoothie.
Wait,
today
I saw a smoothie. Somebody made your smoothie at 4 a.m. and said, Mom, make sure. I was curious. What time did they wake up? So they make the smoothie, and then so that you wake up at
at 3.
At
Yeah, I leave my house at 3, around 3:30. Yeah. So if I'm going to have a smoothie, like sometimes I come to the office, I'll stay the whole day. Sometimes I go back home. So if I'm going to stay the whole time, then my smoothie has to be ready so that when I leave with it. So they make it before they go to bed. Whoever is supposed to make it, my son, my daughter, my help, it has to be made. Sometimes I do it myself. Yeah.
Those days are very rare.
Those days are rare. The days I do stuff for myself are rare but cherished.
But now, as you can see, last-born tendencies are still going on.
Yeah. But Cynthia, why should you do stuff for yourself when you have children you can send to do these things for you?
Because you can.
Why should you do when you have people you can send to do for you and they're not complaining and you are teaching them?
Is that the purpose?
Yeah, my children know. If it's my time for bed, my tea, so they know. Today is your turn to make mom's tea. Tomorrow is someone else's turn to make mom's tea, and mom's tea is special. Lemongrass from the garden, mint from the garden, tangawizi uko jikoni, make mom's tea. It has to be made. Someone has to do it.
In some of the interviews that you've done, you say you have 4 children.
But then you will only see 3.
Yeah.
Because, wow. Do you really want me to talk about that?
Yes. It will be very helpful.
How will it help the economy of this country?
Oh, it has nothing to do with that. It has a lot to do with other mothers like that.
I'm a mother of 4 children. I am a mother of 4 children. But I lost my second baby when she was like 2 years, 4 months. That's a big child, right? Yeah, so that was a long time ago, 2008. If she lived, she would be 16 today. Yeah, but I still deliberately make her part of the family. Like my children know. She's the second born. So my 2 daughters know that they're not the eldest of my daughters. There is someone else who went ahead of them. Yeah, so yes. Next.
So how do you do that? How did you explain to the other 2?
Yeah, it's even when my daughter died, my son was 4. At that age, he was still not able to understand what was happening. And I remember that time after the burial in the village, the next morning he woke up and he said, Mom, I want to see my sister. Where you? Because, you know, the way you explain to children that, you know, your sister has gone to heaven to be with Jesus. So then he kept asking, he went to heaven, but you put her down. She went to heaven, but you put her down. How does she go to heaven? Yeah. And from when he was a child, he really wants you to explain what's happened. So I'd say, no, you see, when you bury them, then their spirit goes up. And I remember after the burial, the next morning, he woke me up and he said, I want to go and see where you put my sister, if there is a hall where she passed to go to heaven. Yeah, and we had to go there, and, you know, now he understands what death is and what burial is, but he doesn't, he has little memories of the sister, you know, that we used to play, that all that, but very few memories. The others just know that there was a sister here, so every time they'll be like, oh mom, and that other daughter of yours, oh mom, and our big sister, you know. They know that there was a sister, they know that a sister died, they know that it's not us, there was someone else. It has helped them to understand the concept of death, that you can have someone and then they die. So, but they still ask a lot of questions about how did she die, why did she die, she was just a small girl, did she make any mistakes, you know, how did she look like, and I've kept some of her clothes. So all of them, my 3 daughters have worn, their dresses that the 3 of them have worn. I have kept them deliberately for each one of them to wear, and I still keep them even now, you know, now that they are much older. So yeah, they know that there was a child here, and I talk a lot about her. When we are talking about other stuff, I talk about it a lot. I tell them that people get sick, people can die, you can be with people and they leave you, so that they understand the concept of death and separation. Yeah.
And how was the journey for you?
She died in 2008.
And by then, I think I had just checked into RMS. I was about a year or 2 into it.
Yeah.
So I didn't even know you very well.
Yes, yeah, it was, yeah. And you know, I got into RMS at 204. So I was also still a bit new. Then in 2008, I got into RMS 204, then I get this child in 2006, then she dies in 2008. See, still. I think the most difficult thing about me losing my child is that I'm not sure if I did everything to save her life. Sometimes I feel like, did I fail my own child? Is there anything else I should have done to keep her alive? It just happened so fast. She was unwell, then we got to hospital, then they say she needs to be admitted. So we put her in an ambulance to rush to hospital for her admission. That time she's fine, I'm holding her. Then on our way, the ambulance, you know the speed of an ambulance? Yeah. So the ambulance hits another car, okay? So there's a car coming and an ambulance is coming and the other car doesn't give way and there is head-on collision. And the child I'm holding like this in the ambulance. And you know the way you sit in an ambulance, so I'm holding her like this, but this is the wall. So she slipped from my hand and hit, her head hit, you know, the ambulance. She didn't fall, but that impact, everything stopped. But I didn't know, okay, because he had fallen asleep. And so we had to stop, the driver stopped the ambulance, and the person who was with us at the back, the medic also, they both got out to go and see what's happening. You know, that's like within a second, so you don't know what's happening. So this guy goes out and then he comes back and he looks at the baby, and I hear him shout to the driver, we have to go, let him be. And the ambulance driver was still trying to talk to the other driver. And this guy went back and said, I said we go, and he was shouting. And he comes in and I've never met those two guys again. He came back into the ambulance, he's trying to fix the oxygen or whatever. Now he has taken the child from me. It happened so fast. By the time we got to hospital, the child was technically dead. You see, this is something that was happening within like maybe 20 minutes. So they resuscitated for like an hour. So I tried to get in, and the doctor said, no, you can't come in because this is an emergency. And they tried and tried, and I had to push my way in. I just kept knocking on that emergency door, and they had to let me in. And when I got in, the doctor said, where is the father? I said, he's not here. Because the father had gone back home because we had now the older boy, you were with him when we went to hospital. So he said, I have to take him back home and then I'll follow you to hospital. You go in the ambulance. Yeah. So within a minute, he was there. So he said, okay, he's here, yes, come in. So she talked to us. It was a lady, and she said, your daughter has come back to life, but I am sorry. She is technically dead. And her real words were, she's a cabbage. And I didn't know what she was talking about. That time I am 28. And I don't understand what she's saying. And so she said, we can either put this child in ICU or we can let her go. Because even if she comes back to life, she's never going to be the same. She is brain dead. At some point, there are a few minutes that she was actually dead. That's why it took us so long to resuscitate her. I think that pain, that scene in that emergency room plays out in my head every time. Anyway, we said, no, let's put her in ICU. And so we put her in ICU, and she stayed in there for 7 days. And I watched my daughter die slowly in those 7 days, like she didn't get better. And she just kept going down and down and down. And there is this one time, and at some point, the hospital gave me the counselor to walk with me. So she would come in every time to talk to me. But I refused. At that point, I said, I don't need you guys talking to me. So every time she would just stop by and say, Mama Angie, do you want to talk to me? I said, no, I'm fine, I'm fine. And so I just like shut her off. Like, what are you going to tell me? And the pain of sitting there with your child every day, holding her hand, touching her, asking questions, and watching her die. That pain is just on another level. Anyway, fast forward. The day my daughter stopped breathing, one of the doctors came and said, we need to talk to you, and so I said, that's fine. So I was there, the father of the child, they called in, and it was a team of doctors. There were like 8 doctors, and each one was giving their report, and then they said, at this point, there is not much we can do. Even the machines are not helping. And so I asked that doctor, if you were in my position, what would you do? And he said, he was a Muindi Kalasinga doctor, and he said, I would pull off the machines. She is not going to leave, okay? You can keep her here forever, but she is not going to leave. She said her brain is dead, her heart is not beating the way it should, her temperature is dropping, her kidneys already failed, her lungs, like everything has failed. He told me, can you go and touch her? I said, yeah. She said, her temperature is dropping every minute. And they took her temperature that time, and it was 18. And then he said, I don't even know why she's still on the machines. And so, well, after we thought about it, and then I said, it's okay. You can switch off the machines.
It's okay. Like, what is your message to people who've gone through that journey? Because again, it's tough, and it's been years.
Yeah, it's been years.
It's been years.
Yeah.
But then
I don't know.
Even the way you're saying, when the song comes on, and when all these things happen,
yeah,
it triggers.
Yeah, it comes on so strong. It's hard. The one thing that I keep telling myself is, there is not much I could have done. Now I read the Bible a little more. Now I pray more than I used to do then. Now I know as a closer relationship with God more. And I know that, it's, some things are beyond you. There is not much I could have done. There is not much I could have done. I cannot keep her alive. Even if I had wanted, I could not have kept her alive, because I go back and there is nothing I, as a mother, failed to do for my own child. I did the best I could do. I even had issues at the office because I was always, you know, I'm away, my child is unwell, whenever she was unwell. And so there is not much, there is nothing I failed to do. And I know many mothers are at that point of, could I have done better? Did I let my own child die? Some things are in the hands of God, and you have to believe that God will let you pass through this storm. Losing a child or losing someone close to you, it will never change, okay? You lose someone, that gap will remain, that pain will remain. But the thing is, it becomes easier for you to live with that, even to talk about it, you know. Coming back to work after losing my child, I was co-hosting a show with Joyce Gituro, so, and you know, she walked with me through this journey, like from the start to finish. She walked with me. Actually, she walked with me from the time we actually went with her to do the pregnancy test. That's how close we walked. So she knew, she could feel my pain. She knew my pain, and I didn't want to talk about it, and she let me be. And I was able to work, you know, to just go back to work and bury myself in it and continue doing what I did and move on like nothing happened. And when you are on air, you know what happens? I was fine when I was co-hosting a show, but it became a problem when I was alone. Because then you play a song and you are alone in studio, and then you switch off the microphone, and then you're just crying, and then the song ends, and then you go back, and then you continue working, and then you finish, you go home. I think the hardest part after all the funeral and all, and I stayed away for like maybe a month, but going back to the office and going back to work and, you know, things going back to normal, there was this hard part with my son. Because now I was spending like every minute with him. I felt like if I leave him, what if something happens to him? So we will be in the car and we're driving, and he will see another child and he say, "Oh, Mom, that's just like Angie." And I'm like, "Yeah." And we used to go, he used to like riding his bike at the Park Uhuru Gardens. So we would go there, kuendesha bike yake, and I say, "Oh, Mom, but if Angie was here, then she would ride beside me. You know, I would beat her at this race." And then I tell her, "No, she's not here, you know." When you go before people, when you switch on the microphone, it's you are talking to people, you are laughing and all, but deep inside, when you leave this office and you go back to home where the reality is, that's when it hits you. And I kept my daughter's cot beside me for quite a while. I think it stayed there until I was expecting now the other child. It stayed there for quite a while. Her baby cot stayed there. Her clothes stayed where they were. I made her bed. It was always just made, you know, like she would come and lie in it for a while until the other child came. And when my middle child, like she calls herself, was born, I cried a lot. I remember the doctor telling me, "If you keep on crying, I cannot stitch you up. You are going to bleed to death. You will not even be able to raise that child, okay? You have to stay calm. I have to stitch you." Because I was just hysterical crying. I didn't know whether I was crying because I got another daughter or because I lost another daughter. So yeah, that journey has been there, moving on and just trying to live your life. And people, you know, the worst thing you ever tell a mother who has lost a child is that you are young, you'll get another child. Don't tell young mothers that. You are young, utapata tu mtoto mwingine. Oh, you are still young, Mungu atakupatia mtoto mwingine. That's bad, because that's what everyone keeps telling you. No, usilie sana. Don't be so sad. You will get another child. Hizi vitu zenye unafanya, ati you are keeping her close. Hizo nguo patia watoto wengine. So utapata watoto wengine. Utapata watoto wengi. Wewe bado ni mtoto. Are you serious? That's a child you lost, and people are just like, I mean, let it go, you will move on. But I was able to move on. I think when when I got my daughter, it made it easier, it made it better. She just came out like the happiest girl, pretty and everything, and that helped me a lot to just pay my attention to her. That's when I was able now to start getting rid of Angie's stuff slowly by slowly, now to move on with. Can I sip my tea and have my breakfast?
It is very hard to have breakfast when you're having that kind of conversation. But now, away from all that, what are the things that you're passionate about? Like, who is Jeridah away from radio, away even from training? What do you do for fun? Minus boxing.
What do I do for fun? I'm very boring, by the way. I don't have much to do. I go to work, I go home, I go to church. What do I do? I read, I write, what do I do for fun? I think the best fun I have is with my girlfriends. Yeah, I have groups of girlfriends, different groups from different, social settings. And I think that's the best time I have.
Okay, what would you term as your biggest achievement?
My biggest achievement is raising 3 Kenyans who are alive and kicking.
I have made it.
That is a big deal. You guys, I am raising 3 people. And they are fine.
You can't even cook ugali.
What?
You can't even do chapati. You can't do anything.
Okay, I can
But
do chapati.
somehow, you have raised 3.
By the grace of God, I have 3 people who call me mom. And they are fine.
And they take you seriously.
And they actually, when I talk, they listen. And they keep quiet. And they listen to my instructions and they do just like I said. And if I raise my voice, they know there is trouble here and everything starts moving. Oh my God, that is my biggest achievement.
Okay, and Jeridah in the future?
Where do I see myself? See, we wait for the future to come.
No, I mean, you could say you want to be the president. There's nothing that's stopping you.
But why would I say something I don't want to be?
Oh, okay.
Why would I want to be a president and get stressed by Kenyans? Where?
Tukutoe Twitter.
I think by now what I have done, especially in my professional front, has set the foundation for me to do a lot more. Yeah. Now I am at a point where I want to reach out and help people. I want to be impactful. Okay, I don't want people to meet me on the street. Oh, hi Jeridah, nimekusikia kwa radio. I want to meet people and then they say, oh, hi Jeridah, you did ABCD for me. Oh, hi Jeridah, that child, you know. So I want to help people more. I want to help, especially girls, achieve their dreams. I want girls to look at me and see someone they can, aspire to be like. That's now my passion. It's not so much about that I'm on radio, that people know me, that I'm earning, that, when I pass, at least 5 people, one of them will know me. I think that's gotten to where it can get. Now I want to be at a point where I am changing lives, That's where I want to go. That's where I'm headed. That's where my passion is. That's why I am doing projects here and there, helping girls from my village. Yeah, there is a school that was started a few years ago by my brother and others. And we do, just letting those girls in that school, in my village, see that this woman who is heard by people around this country came from here. She went to this primary school. She lived in this village. These people know her. That is a big deal for me. And I want to do that for many other girls, to see that this woman was a girl like us. This woman who akikuja ushago siku hizi hapandi boda boda, anakuja na gari, analetwa na gari, saa zingine mpaka ako na driver, akivaa nguo, anakuja amevaa nguo nzuri, anavaa kiatu mpaka anatembea kwa heels, anasimama huko anaongea kizungu. Alikuwa kama sisi. That is where I want my energy to go. Impacting lives, creating a society of strong women. I didn't start as a strong woman, but with time I have learned that you have to be a strong woman to achieve a little more. Because the world doesn't present you with everything that you need as a woman to grow, but you have to find those opportunities and find those things that you need to push you as a woman, so that's where I'm headed. I want the people behind me to grow up stronger than me, to achieve more than I have achieved.
Oh, that's beautiful. That's really beautiful. Thank you so much, really, for your time, for the gym, for your story, for opening up. We appreciate it. We truly do. Asante sana.